I would like to thank my grandfather who served in the Marines. Thank you for your service.
In honor of Veterans Day, I would like to thank my Uncle Alonzo for his service in the Army.
Although I don't have any veterans in my family, I thank all those who are serving now for their great service.
I'm thanking my great-grandfather for serving in World War II as an Air Force mechanic.
I would like to appreciate Trinity Bali and Logan Guthrie, for they are serving in the U.S. Army and the Air Force. I would like to appreciate them because they are very supportive and really hardworking people, and without them, I wouldn't be here today.
I would like to thank our family friend Joe for serving our country in the Army.
Shout out to my cousin Kathleen who served in the Air Force. Thank you for your service.
Shout out to my grandpa who served during the Vietnam War and was a mechanical engineer. Thank you for your service.
My mother was in a MASH unit in the Korean War. She, at a mobile army surgical hospital, she took care of patients very near to the fighting. My father was also in the Korean War in the Army, and my father-in-law was an artilleryman who shot ammunition from a mile away to hit the enemy. They fought hard to preserve our freedom, and I would like to thank all of the veterans serving then and now for providing this great country.
I would like to thank my great uncle Tom for his service in the Air Force as a pilot. Thank you for all your dedication and time.
I'd like to thank both my grandpas for being in the service, and I love them very much.
I'd also like to thank both of my grandpas for also being in the service. They've done so much for us.
Hi, Colonel. You will probably never meet me, but thank you for the opportunity to be here at this day and age and for starting this Air Force ROTC program.
We'd like to thank Senior Master Sergeant Pierce Challa
and Master Sergeant Hellinger
for all that you've done for Corps and for serving our country.
Good morning. Good morning, honored guests and families, City of Aurora representatives, Board of Education members, Superintendent Dr. Jeff Craig, District 129 administrators, staff, parents, and community members, and also the finest students in the state of Illinois, the West Aurora High School Blackhawks. Welcome. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. Welcome to our annual Veterans Day Assembly, where we honor all those who have served. My name is Charles Hiscock, and it's my pleasure to serve as the principal of West High, where we firmly believe that the service and sacrifice of our military veterans is the foundation upon which our great nation is built. Every year, our students honor our community and our veterans by respectfully acknowledging their commitment to this great nation. At this time, I would ask everyone to please stand as they are able for the entrance of the color guard and the singing of our national anthem by the gospel choir. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Cadet Ellie Rogowski. Today's color guard is comprised of cadets from our Blackhawk drill team. On rifles, we have cadets Sophie Cantu and Leah Cruz. Carrying the Illinois flag is Cadet Stephanie Obasa, and proudly carrying the American flag and commanding today's color guard is Cadet Anishka Ferrer Lopez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as the colors exit the gymnasium. Thank you, Color Guard and Gospel Choir.
All right, please be seated. All right, good morning and welcome. My name is Master Sergeant Scott Hellinger, and I'm honored to stand before you today as we honor and pay tribute to the many veterans around the world, and also to those who are with us this morning in our assembly. At this time, we would like to recognize any veterans we have with us today from different operations and conflicts. If you are able, please stand and remain standing if you served our great nation in any of the following conflicts. Veterans from Afghanistan, please stand and be recognized. Veterans from Operations Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom. Veterans from Desert Storm. Veterans from the Vietnam War. Veterans from the Korean War. And veterans from World War II, please stand. And last but not least, any veterans from other areas in conflicts that we have not mentioned, please stand. Once again, thank you again for your service to our great country. Please give them all another round of applause.
Now we will honor those men and women who are prisoners of war or missing in action. We begin with the American's Creed, written in 1917 by William Tyler Page. It reads, "I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established on those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my country to love, to support its Constitution, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies." Today, the IL-20141 Black Hawk Honor Guard is conducting a ceremony to show our respect for the heroism and sacrifices made by thousands of Americans who have suffered and remained captive in enemy hands, as well as those whose fate still remains unknown. We also honor the memory of those brave men and women who were killed in action. The detail you see in front of you has 3 riflemen, 1 flag bearer, and 1 helmet bearer, and 1 dog tag bearer. The riflemen. He stands alone to demonstrate the loneliness of a prisoner of war. Far from home and loved ones, the prisoner has endured torture and years of isolation. The dog tags of a fallen soldier, designating the name and resting place of the soldier so they will not be forgotten. The soldier's helmet, once offering the head of a soldier both shelter from the elements and protection from the enemy. The POW MIA flag. It is a visible reminder of our nation's commitment to resolve the fate of Americans who are still being held prisoner, who are missing in action, or who are unaccounted for. We want these soldiers and their families to know we remember them. We want them to know that they will never be forgotten. We will never forget. Today, we are honored by the presence of many veterans. At the conclusion of our assembly, we ask you to stop by, say hello, and thank them for their service. We also ask that you dedicate your thoughts and prayers to the families who are still waiting to hear from their missing loved ones. Finally, we would like to thank all of those who have served in the past or who are currently serving in the United States military. Thank you for your service, your sacrifices, and your unwavering courage.
Veterans are with us every day here at West Aurora. Please join me in recognizing our current staff members who are veterans. Will the following veterans please stand and remain standing as your name is called? Please hold your applause until all of our staff veterans have been recognized. From the U.S. Marine Corps, David Aguilar, Ed Dopel, Jesus Favela, and Anthony Rizzo, and Steve Williams. From the U.S. Army, Mr. Mario Gonzalez and Dr. Charles Hiscock. From the U.S. Air Force, Master Sergeant Scott Hellinger, Robert Lundquist, Gregory Pierce, and Senior Master Sergeant Pirshala. Please give them all a round of applause. And now, to further demonstrate West High's support and involvement with our military, we recognize the students who will enlist in the military immediately upon graduation or after they complete college. General Douglas MacArthur served in the U.S. Army for 38 years and commanded troops during World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. In 1962, he gave his famous duty, honor, country speech to the cadets of West Point Military Academy. He commended those students for joining what he called the Long Gray Line. This group of individuals contains the military members that have held our freedoms and this nation's very existence in their hands. That responsibility will now be handed on to these graduating seniors as the Long Gray Line marches on. You have our thanks and our gratitude, and we wish you all the best of luck in your service to our country. When your name is called, please stand to be recognized and remain standing until all names are called. Please hold your applause until the end. To the U.S. Air Force, Haley Boyden-Fewer, Rachel Lopez. To the U.S. Army, Vivi Aguilar, Luke Ely, and Noah Chacon. To the U.S. National Guard, Logan Taylor. And to the U.S. Marine Corps, Antonio Cabadas Padilla and Adrian Andujar.
I'd now like to welcome the Thunder Rifles Armed Exhibition Team, commanded by Cadet Braden Goldstein. In the past, this performance has claimed top 5 placements in local drill meets, national championships, and in 2022 has placed first place in Air Force National Championships in Dayton, Ohio. Please direct your attention to the floor and welcome our very own Thunder Rifles.
Please give another round of applause to your Thunder Rifle Armed Exhibition team. Now, West Aurora's a cappella choir will sing Barter, which acknowledges the beauty that life has to offer when one commits themselves to their true purpose.
Please direct your attention to the screen in the back of the gym. Freedom doesn't come without a price. The currency of liberty is paid for by the blood of patriots. We may sometimes take for granted the many liberties we enjoy in America, but they have all been earned through the ultimate sacrifice paid by so many members of our armed forces. The following Blackhawks walked the same halls as we do every day, sat in the same classes you sit in every day, and attended many assemblies right here in this gym like you're doing today. In the words of President Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address, these recent graduates have paid the last full measure of devotion for their country. Please direct your attention to the screen as I read their names. Army Specialist Christopher Patterson, class of 2009. Marine Private Nick Howe, class of 2002. And United States Marine Corps First Lieutenant Tim Ryan, class of 1991. I ask you to please join me in a moment of silence in their memory. Thank you. Now please direct your attention to the Wind Symphony and a cappella choir as they perform the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching
I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing today's guest speaker. First Lieutenant Robert Demise is a native of Door County, Wisconsin. Lieutenant Demise commissioned as a field artillery officer through the United States Military Academy in 2021, also known as West Point. Lieutenant Demise has served in a variety of leadership and staff assignments throughout his career. Previous assignments include Fire Support Officer, Battery Fire Direction Officer, and Battalion Fire Direction Officer, Fort Stewart, Georgia. Within these roles, he deployed to Grafenwehr, Germany in support of Operation Reinforce, Reassure, and Deter from February 2022 to September 2022. Just this past month, Lieutenant Demise arrived at the Downers Grove Recruiting Company. He is responsible for recruiting the best and brightest our nation has to offer from 5 recruiting stations located in Aurora, Downers Grove, Joliet, Naperville, and Glendale Heights. He is here today to share some of his experiences with you. Let's give a warm Black Hawk welcome to First Lieutenant Robert Demise.
Just want to thank you guys for having me here today. Also want to thank the Air Force JROTC for a great performance, and obviously not to mention all of our veterans in the crowd. As we celebrate Veterans Day and recognize all who have served our nation with honor and distinctions, we must remember that veterans have earned our undying gratitude, and the American people must never forget the sacrifices that they made. Ultimately, today is a reminder that the Army's people are its greatest strength. And taking care of them, ensuring them in order so we can win our nation's wars is our nation's top priority. Many prospective soldiers observe how we take care of our soldiers and our veterans as they consider serving themselves. The Army is committed to the success of our soldiers from pre-enlistment to post-separations. In fact, about half of the Army civilian force is made up of former veterans. Duty to our country is our prime reason people want to serve in the Army, but the Army is also a good career. A career that you can be all you can be, something that the Army commonly talks about. Soldiers have a diverse set of professionals who have unique skills and experience them, making them invaluable contributors to future civilian experience. So often, soldiers turn back to the military to serve their country. Despite all of this, only 1% of our nation serves in the military, and 61% of those who serve are more likely to have been exposed to military through friends and family. It's often an indicator that veterans have firsthand knowledge of the benefits of a military career and can bridge the gap between those who are familiar with military life and those who have never considered the military as a career. If you are a veteran, I encourage you to share positive stories about your service this Veterans Day. Veteran stories connect Americans with the value of Army service and inspire the next generation to serve. For nearly a century, we have observed Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting along the Western Front in World War I on November 11, 1918. In 1938, Congress made Armistice Day an official annual national holiday. In 1954, it was changed to Veterans Day. While Memorial Day is a time to remember those who died in the service to our country, Veterans Day is a time to remember all those who have served, past and present, many of whom are in the crowd right now. Many of our surviving veterans are members of what we call an all-volunteer force. For those unfamiliar with the military, when we say we are all volunteer, we don't mean that soldiers are not paid for their work. We mean that soldiers choose to serve. We are not a country that forces soldiers to join the military. In fact, you earn a paycheck and countless other valuable financial and educational benefits. More than that, the Army sets the conditions for being part of a close-knit community held together by lifelong bonds with fellow soldiers and veterans, and a career path that has no limits. You can be all you can be in the Army, and the strength of our force is reflected in the quality and professionalism of our people. This year marked the 50th anniversary of the all-volunteer force. If you are a veteran who served your country, I want to personally say thank you for your commitment to keeping our country safe and for being part of the best Army in the world. In the Army, we consider our greatest asset to be our people. Our all-volunteer force is a credit to Americans of all races, genders, and creeds. Ultimately, the military is a representation of society. And our common commitment to defense of and love for our country binds us and unites us together. That goes to the heart of what it means to be an American. As a nation, we must ensure that the service and sacrifice of our veterans is never overlooked and most definitely never forgotten. The Army believes that every soldier is a soldier for life and is committed to removing barriers to their success both in and out of the Army. In the United States, we have about 18 million veterans who have served, and that's about 7% of the adult population. Their service spans from World War II to our latest conflicts in the Middle East. On Veterans Day, we honor the brave men and women from all walks of life who stepped forward to defend our nation throughout its history. The U.S. now has the largest population of young veterans since the Vietnam War. We owe it to these men and women to make sure they transition from active duty careers with the skills and experience to find meaningful employment in the civilian sector and ultimately find success. Regardless of the military branch in which our veterans have served, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or even the new Space Force, this day belongs to them. Generations of patriots have dedicated themselves to the defense of our country and makes us stronger and more resilient as a nation. Soldiers live by the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. They do not leave behind their values and skills when they transition to civilian life. Maintaining a lifelong identification with the Army, Army soldiers are not former soldiers. They are soldiers for life, and uniquely qualified to advocate for and connect the public with the Army by telling their story. The Army Soldier for Life programs work in communities across the country to create opportunities for soldiers, veterans, and families, and encourage veterans to remain connected to the Army. Right now, all around our countries, our Soldiers for Life and veterans from other services are teachers, doctors, engineers, social workers, community leaders, first responders, and even elected officials. They continue to serve our communities by making positive contributions, building strong futures and inspiring generations. Our nation's veterans throughout our history have kept us free, returned home, and continue to serve our nation in a multitude of ways. Today, we say thank you to all of them. Thank you for inviting me today, and to our veterans, thank you for our service.
Thank you, Lieutenant Demise. The next music selection will be the Armed Forces Medley performed by our Wind Symphony. We honor and salute the men and women from each branch of our United States Armed Forces and their families. The protocol is to stand if you are able when the song of your branch of service is played, and I invite our students, staff, and special guests to do the same. One more round of applause for our Wind Symphony. Now we will have a performance by our unarmed drill team, the Lady Blackhawk Thunder Guard. Please direct your attention to the floor as the Thunder Guard unarmed exhibition team commanded by Cadet Stephanie Obasa performs their exhibition routine. This routine has won multiple trophies at local drill meets and won first place at last year's Air Force National Championship. Please direct your attention to the floor and welcome our very own Thunder Guard.
Please give the Thunder Guard one more round of applause. Blackhawks. Today, we are privileged to be in the presence of a very special group of Americans. We owe them our freedom, and today, especially, we owe them our gratitude. To all our veterans, West Aurora High School and School District 129 says thank you. Thank you for your sacrifices, dedication, and your unwavering service in peacetime and in war, both here in this nation and throughout the world. At the conclusion of our final performance, students and staff are dismissed back to their first hour classes. Now, to close out our assembly, please stand and join me in paying tribute to our fallen soldiers as West Aurora's own Dan Curry and Jordan Story perform taps. Do you want me to move this?